As members of the Fellowship and the allies who rise to aid them, you must embark on a journey that may either save or doom Middle-earth. Navigate a world beset by shadow, where every choice forges a new path. The threads of destiny weave together, and the fate of the free people lies in your valor, friendship, and resolve. Will the One Ring be cast into the fire, or will the bear be lost to despair? Tonight on the board, boys.
The fate of the Fellowship.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Board Boys Podcast, Season 18, Episode 2. Tonight on the docket, Fate of the Fellowship from Zman Games and Middle-earth Enterprises.
That's weird.
They're cranking out lots of stuff.
And they just do Lord of the Rings only content.
I think Middle-earth Enterprises is like the company that owns the Middle-earth IP.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Or like the Lord of the Rings IP.
Right, okay. And so they are just
and Asmodee like their parent company actually owns Asmodee, I think, is how it worked out.
Okay.
At least that's how it used to be. I haven't paid that close of attention lately, but that's why there's so many Lord of the Rings games coming through the pipeline.
Right. So that company is made up of like 4 executives that are just sitting in pots of gold.
Yeah, thinking of new ways of making Lord of the Rings games.
Got it.
Anyway, this is your board boy. We didn't dunk the ring tonight, Rob.
This is your boy, my precious TK.
No, that was a good one. So, Tim, what have you been playing?
Yeah, so I got to play with Rob here. We got our Kickstarter in for Darwin's Journey, Oceania. So first, I think I want to talk a little bit about my journey with Darwin's Journey. I'm going to say that here. I have probably played 50 games of Darwin's Journey on BGA, and the more I play it, the more I like it. So I was super excited for getting Oceania to the table. And Oceania basically gives you an entire new board, kind of like Firelands expansion, where you flip the board over in Firelands. This is a whole new board. There was nothing on the back side of the board, right? So just
the
one
other
board.
Player count.
Oh, the other player count. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this expansion, you're walking through a new kind of set of islands. There's 4 islands. You kind of go from the right to the left on the bottom of the board. And one of the big mechanisms on the bottom of this board is the hazard track. So as you are walking your guy or driving your boat down the lanes on these islands, you'll cross little areas where you will get a hazard token. And when you get these hazard tokens, they move you up the danger track, which basically becomes a multiplier for a bad thing that happens to you at the end of the round. So you can get these hazard tokens by crossing those things, and then the first person to discover the species will also get one of these. So I think it was meant to try to balance out a little bit of the, when you go first in Darwin's Journey, it's actually really good to get that stuff so you can deliver. This kind of makes it somewhat bad to do that, but there's a lot of ways to kind of undo those things. Some of the other benefits or differences in this version is there's like silver post offices, there's a university, there's another track where you can kind of, as you walk your guys by these things, you get to add dudes to a new special stamp space. You get to add guys to a new special seal space. And then there's like, I don't know if they're villages, I think, where you can kind of get a mid-round, cool boost that's like once per game. In our game we played, it was a special tent, but there's 5 or 6 other tiles there. And then at the last island, there is an endgame scoring tile that when you put a tent on, you can then qualify for that endgame scoring.
Yeah, it just makes like the boat action even better.
Yes. Yeah.
I think because the boat now unlocks more things for you and more options.
Yeah, it seems like there was more tent spaces for the boats, there was more kind of tiles for the boats, and there was more like cool options there. And then another big thing for this expansion was completely new player boards that have new powers when you complete contracts, which were totally different and kind of, I would say, the base game. I think there's a couple like ones that you hit. I think everybody hits every time. The spaces are $1 less when you go put a worker there. That's not on the new board. There's a couple that ones like repeat the tent and stuff that are really good that are not on the new board.
Pay less for seals.
Yeah, pay less for seals is not on the new board. So there were other cool ones. One of them being, I believe, like one of the tent bonuses was, pull a worker back off the board, which I thought was awesome. Their new stamp bonuses, all that stuff. So, which I thought changed the game way more than I was expecting it to.
Yeah, I think the new player boards were probably the craziest part.
Yeah.
I don't know. It added a new, I know we didn't really enjoy the Firelands expansion much, and it was like the time mechanism seemed pretty punishing, and the hazards on this one kind of feels the same way, but it feels like the hazards are more manageable. than the time was.
It
kind of makes me want to go back and try the time again because going on those adventures seemed like it was fun and it was just another side of the board. But ultimately, I'm glad they gave us a new board to play with. Yeah, the new map's awesome.
Yeah, I really liked it. I would like to play it again. I want to play the Firelands again. I don't remember if the time punishment reset itself at the end of the round.
I don't think it did.
So I could see that compounding, whereas the hazard here, you get your bad thing and the person that gets the bad thing the worst gets a bonus, and then everybody resets to 0 and the new round starts, which I thought was all right. And there's definitely a lot of ways to mitigate that. And on top of that, there's a space where you can go that kind of moves your guy back to. But if you were all the way down to the danger track, you could get 5 times the bad thing, which could be like completed contracts or something. So you could lose a lot of points. But I think for us, I think I lost the most with like maybe 12 points. So it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, and I think it opens up an interesting thing where you could look and see what the end game one is and just not do that.
Yeah.
And then hammer the danger track in the last round and not worry about it.
Yeah, it sounds tight.
I didn't think that was probably a really good thing to do with objectives.
Yeah.
Because objectives are pretty good.
That was our last one.
Yeah. And like I did more objectives that game than I've probably ever done before. So
and our gold village was 2 points per objective. So there was kind of some conflicting things there. So
correct.
So we just all had to manage our danger track accordingly.
Yeah. I think I liked the split correspondence tiles where you could get the first and second bonus different, and you can throw that into any version of the game you want, which is cool.
Yes.
And then there was that extra spot where the post office or whatever, where there was like a new version of that every round.
Yeah. So every round, at the end of the round, you would change the top postage stamp for that, which I thought, which is definitely
it's such a good game. It has so much replayability. It's fairly intuitive to like the iconography, even though there's so much of it. Yeah, it's really good still.
I think it's definitely made its way into my top 10. It might be my top 5 at this point in time.
Yeah, Oceania, if you really like Darwin's Journey, I think is something you should look at. But I think also Darwin's Journey suffers from too many modules symptom, maybe. So figuring out which of those you want to play with, like if you add in too many, is too much.
Yeah. We played with the scenarios. We played with
the pirates, I think, is the only one I haven't played with.
Okay.
And that's like the mean one.
Yeah, and then the new Kimono Dragon thing.
Yeah, I haven't played with the new one. Like there's a golden tent and the Kimono Dragon. That's all new.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, the Kimono Dragon isn't that new.
Right.
It was like a promo from like a year ago or something. But
right, but we just got it.
Correct. And it's new to us.
We played a lot with the Animal Companions, which basically gave you a ton of juice at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, maybe we should play with Animal Companions with the Firelands.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did that last time.
Maybe that would make Firelands feel not so bad.
Yeah.
But the Animal Companions, it's nice because I think they even say in the rule book that if you're playing against like a new player, you can give them an Animal Companion and you just not take one.
That seems like a great idea. Actually, I never thought about
because that like balances out. Like if you want to give like a new player like a boost, give them the Animal Companion. Once you know the game, if you get the companion, that just overjuiced you for the whole game, I felt like.
Yeah, I think the one that I was looking at, or there's one that's like $4 or $6, which at like the first turn, or because you can use them whenever, right? You use them whenever you want. It's just amazing, right? So they just give you a giant head start. So, but otherwise, I would highly recommend it. And again, Darwin's Journey base game is just fantastic.
Still a big thumbs up for us.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about one called Sanctuary from Spiel and Capstone. It is by Matthias Wig. This is the re-implementation of Arc Nova. It was not really on my radar because I don't really like tile laying and I was kind of over Arc Nova a little bit, but I kept hearing good things about it, so I could give it a shot. I played it a few times now. It has the same card play mechanism as Arc Nova, only it has tiles, and in this game you can actually upgrade all 4 of your action tiles. 3 of the action tiles are the exact same, they just let you play different colors of animals. One of them lets you play a special project type card. And the other one, man, I'm blanking on what the 4th one did. Oh, no, that is the 4th one.
Yeah. There's the project and there's 3 different types of
that's right.
Terrains.
And then they all let you just draw cards or tiles blind off a stack, or you can take them based on where it is in the row. That is where you can take from the offer, which I thought was cool. So you can either use your project and then you have less tiles to pick from, or you can not play a project for a while and then move that thing up there. Then you get more choices for the tile. And it's one of those place things appropriately next to other things to score points. It has the same kind of, you're trying to match symbols to complete kind of the objectives, and that kind of triggers the end of the game.
And when you say symbols, like the
continents,
North America, the continents,
and the
animal
type of
types,
animals. Overall, to me, it really feels more kind of like a zoo simulator than Ark Nova does, even, especially with the conservation. You can more easily see where the animals are in your park, where you're putting them. You cover them up when you send them out back into the wild, which is cool. And that's actually a pretty big part of the game, I think, to try to get all the symbols you need, because letting them out gives you these basically wild card tokens that you can spend towards the conservation projects. And the game plays in under an hour and up to 5 players. So I think we even I taught 3 people and we played it in under an hour. It still has a little bit of the Ark Nova, you might not get the tiles you want type of thing, but I didn't really, with the length of the game, that doesn't really bother me that much. So overall, I'm pretty happy with Ark Nova. I even taught it to Beau, and it was not totally his jam, I don't think, but maybe he'll try it again. I don't know.
The tiles are real chunk,
they're huge tiles.
It's not like Cascadia tiles. They're big. They're
and he was able to grasp what was going on, I think. So
I would like to play it again. I definitely ran into the not getting what you're trying to get, especially when everybody's competing for the same kind of 4 or 5 conservation things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
Maybe I should have drawn from the other side of the pile.
That's true.
I did like the project card where it was allowed you to, go deeper down the row. I thought that was the row that was face up. I thought that was a cool mechanism.
I want to see how you can build the buildings too. It's a free action at the end. You can build 1 building per turn if you meet the requirements. So I think that's kind of a neat thing too. And the game ends a couple different ways. One is if you fill your board, one is if the tiles run out, and one is if somebody does all 4 of their conservation projects, which is basically having 3 of a symbol, 4 of a symbol. Maybe it's 2 of a symbol, 3 of a symbol, 4 of a symbol, and 5 of a symbol out there.
I don't know how you would run out of tiles without doing either of the other 2.
5-player game, maybe.
Maybe. But
and the other part is kind of a hard thing to think about when you're playing, and Beau ran into this, and you ran into this a little bit, was some of the larger animals require open space, which basically you flip a tile from your player board face down, and it has to go in a certain direction from where the tile is. And since you have to build from the entrance or off of another tile, you could definitely put yourself in a spot where you just can't put an animal in there anymore.
Yeah, I built my whole game around getting these 2 monkeys out that were male and female, and then I couldn't do it because I couldn't. Yeah. The one, I didn't realize one had an arrow pointing upper right and bottom left or something, so I couldn't actually fit it in my zoo, which is disappointing.
So that definitely takes some planning. But anyway, Sanctuary, pretty cool.
It was different enough from Ark Nova that it's not it's not the same. No. It's definitely a way different game.
No,
so.
Yeah, it definitely has some feelings from it, but it's definitely different.
Symbols and stuff are the same, but other than that, it's not nearly as similar as I thought it was going to be.
I want to talk about another one called, I talked about this at the end of the last episode. This is Agent Avenue by Nerd Lab Games. You've had a chance to play this now.
Yes, I did.
At least on BGA.
On BGA, yep.
This is the game I'm using to get to the alpha status level.
You've played 4,000 games of it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, games can end in 2 turns.
It plays so quickly. Yeah. So I can speak better about this game now. So Agent Avenue, and I have the physical version. Agent Avenue is a 2-player game where there's probably 7 or 8 different types of cards in the box, and they all do something different based on if you've played 1, 2, or 3 of that card. On your turn, you play 2 of cards from your hand, 1 face up, 1 face down. The other person gets to pick which one of those cards they take, and you get the other one. Then you move around this little racetrack, and you're basically trying to catch the other person's meeple. But the crux of the game is there's also 3 wolves, and if you get 3 wolves, you lose. And if you get 3 of these...
They're called code breakers, right?
Code breakers, they're like a bunny or something, or an owl. I don't remember.
Yeah.
If you get 3 code breakers, you win. So those are the 3 ways you can win. Either 3 code breakers, 3 of the wolves, or catch the other person by sometimes you can make them go backwards and you go forwards and that kind of thing. Now, I've been playing most of the games now with this advanced variant rule where there's always these 3 cards face up called the black market. And when you land exactly on one of the corners, you get to take one of the cards from the black market. And this just adds a whole nother layer to the game. Like, it can make you win with wolves. It can make cards do certain things when you get them. Like, there's a card that's all negative, but it becomes positive for you. So there's another thing of like, sometimes when you're playing the regular game, it's like, well, I don't really care which one of these I do. But when you're playing with the advanced cards, you're like, well, if I do this, maybe I'll land on the corner and I can get that cool card. So if you want to play with somebody new, you can play the easy version. If you're playing with somebody who's played this a lot, then you play with the other cards, and like it adds like a whole nother layer to this really simple game.
Because some of them are lightning bolt, instant, you know, move 4 spaces, or some of them are, you know, infinity symbol, they stay with you the whole game.
Yeah, and some of them basically give you a scenario. I had a couple of games where because of the card I had, it didn't matter what the person picked, I was going to win the game.
Right.
Which I guess you can have that in the regular game too, but those cards make that even like a bigger possibility. Yeah. I want to try there's one that lets you win if you have 7 different cards in front of you. I feel like that's a hard one to achieve. I haven't gone for that one yet. But I've gotten like more achievements for this game than like any other game, I think.
Because like when you play the cards, when you take the cards, you play them down in front of you into the columns. And then as you stack the same person on top of each other, they might do like 1 movement, 2 movement, 6 movement or something like that.
Yeah, so there's one that's -1. The second one gives you 6 movement. And then the third one gives you -1.
Right.
And then everyone after that gives you whatever the third thing is. So that guy's only good for the second time. But then it's awesome because like, if you have 2 wolves in front of you or they have 2 code breakers in front of you, you almost get put into a spot where you're like, well, I can't not take the face down one. What if it's the third code breaker and they win? I don't know. I'm just like totally enamored with this game. It's awesome.
It's very fun.
Another game about anthropomorphic animals is called A Carnivore Did It. This one is from Horrible Guild. And the designers Domilas Ardicus and Urtis Slinskas. I am sorry, guys, about messing that up. Assuming it's guys. People.
We are in the Midwest.
Yes.
So guys for us is gender neutral. It's like a filler word. So
there you go.
For people that aren't around from Iowa in the Midwest.
Cecilia Lonnie is the artist. Carnivore Did It has, I don't know, 18 cards in it, each with 100 different missions. And you can play just a one-off game. This game also uses red lens technology. So it's got this little sleeve that you put over the card, and it's just like and then you slide it down over the level you want to play, and it tells you the answer. Okay? The card you're playing on will tell you how many characters you're playing with, and then how many of them are either telling the truth or telling a lie. You put them in a circle, and then you basically go around and then you put another card next to them. So it might be, I don't remember all the animals in here, but let's say we're playing with the beginning ones just have like 3 things, like 3 different animals. Animal number 1 might say number 3 did it. Number 2 might say number 1 is lying. And number 3 might be like, say something else. Anyway, it's a deduction game based on the information and the card telling you how many people are lying or telling the truth. You have to figure out what the answer is. And you can play, like Beau and I played the easy campaign, which is playing 1 mission off of the first 8 cards, I think. So Beau and I played like the beginner campaign, and I think we got like 6 out of the 8 of them right. It's a lot harder to figure, and there's no difference. Like if there's 4 people and it says 1 is lying, that means 3 are telling the truth and vice versa. They just always tell you the lower of the 2 numbers. But for some reason, having more positive answers was harder on our brains.
Okay.
But there were so many times where I was like, well, this is this. And then Beau corrected me and got it right, even though he says he doesn't like deduction games. Anyway, I'm excited to try it some more. It plays like you could play 1 game of it in like a minute.
Okay.
If you want to, like, because it's one thing. And like, if you play like a little campaign, maybe it'd be like 20 or 30 minutes or something.
You said there's 100 cards?
There's 100. No, there's like 18. Maybe there's 24 cards. I think there's 24 cards, each with 100 different puzzles on it.
You got it.
So there's a ton. And as you go up the card number, the difficulty gets harder.
Fun?
Yeah, it's fun. I can see where I wouldn't want to do that game forever,
Right.
but it's a fun puzzle for sure, and it's fairly inexpensive.
And it's small. You can just, there's a deck of cards and you just bring it around.
Yeah, it's a small box, the same size as the last game I just talked about.
Asian Avenue.
Yes.
Asian Avenue. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So like Point City.
Yes.
Not like Scout.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, probably 4 by 8 inches or something.
Okay.
Something like that.
Not a pocket game.
Not unless you got Jinko jeans.
Man, throwback.
Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Is it Jinko?
I think so.
Junko?
Yeah,
Jinko?
that covered your feet.
Yeah, I never had those.
I did.
I bet you did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you're a surfer boy.
Yeah, skateboarding and rollerblading.
Oh yes, the surfing of the pavement.
Yeah, the surfing in the Midwest. Yeah,
the skateboarding.
Yep.
Man, did you have emo hair too?
No, just long hair.
Okay.
Yeah, just long hair.
Not over your eye.
No, because that was probably a little bit after my high school. When we were in high school, it was more we were in between grunge and emo.
Okay.
Right? I listened to I guess I listened to Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana and stuff.
Yeah.
But Rage Against the Machine, 311, that was our skating music, I guess. So
there you go.
Yeah. Did you have emo hair?
No.
All right.
Do you still skate?
I still rollerblade. I have not skateboarded in forever.
Okay.
Forever.
Do you think you could?
I could go. Could I get it? Could I get it off the ground or something?
Yeah.
Probably not. Probably not.
Okay.
I was much better at rollerblading than was skateboarding.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah.
Ba-ba-ba-da. All right. It is time for a segment we like to call A Beaument with Mo.
Hello.
Hey, Bo, what up?
Okay, so right now, I made a game, and I want to share it with the world. Okay, so the game is called Smaloogle.
How do you spell that?
Let me see where I spelled it. Smaloogle.
All right, for reference, he made this game while we were podcasting.
Yes, in about 15 minutes. It's never been played before, but it's beautiful. So, on your turn, you pick a mini game off the board. And at the end of your turn, if all the mini games are done, you call out Smaloogle.
So is this a real-time game?
No.
Okay.
So, you pick a mini game to play. The games are the board. If a piece is on the board, roll the dice and move that many spaces. If one piece is on every corner, then call mini Smaloogle. Only move your color of piece. I'll explain how pieces get on the board in the chess section.
So there's a board that is roll and move, and you're trying to get to the corners.
So dice. You say a number, you roll one of the dice. If you roll the number, you said roll a second dice. If all the dice are rolled and they're done and they were all correct, you call it mini Smaloogle. I wasn't very precise about that. If somebody does one and then does another one but they fail, that one still counts, so you just take it off the board.
Oh, okay.
Or you can just decide to not keep going. I don't know, there's no point in doing that, but... And then is the meeple game. You call out red or purple, and then you flip the meeple, and if you get red or purple, then you call out mini Smaloogle, and it goes off the board. That's the easiest one to do.
So as long as you're right. Okay.
Hangman. You know how to play Hangman.
Yeah.
That's literally what it says in the rule book. You know how to play Hangman. If you won, call out mini Smaloogle. Also, remember to keep track of your mini Smaloogles, which once somebody calls Smaloogle, whoever has the most mini Smaloogles at the end of the game wins. But
could we maybe put a piece of a pie in a circular thing every time you get a mini Smaloogle? Much like a game called Trivial Pursuit.
Okay.
Perfect.
But
that's how you track your progress.
So, the thing is, if you're the one who finishes and gets to call out Smaloogle, that counts as 2 mini Smaloogles.
So how do you decide what minigame you're playing and whose turn it is?
You just do whatever minigame you want, then the next person goes. And
so like
and you're on teams if there's more than 2 players.
okay, so there's only ever 2 players or teams.
Technically, there can be played with 3 players, 2 people versus 1 person.
Okay.
Basically, it can play any amount of players.
Okay.
And then there is the chess.
But like, is a turn of Hangman just asking one question?
Yes.
Okay.
Then there's chess. You take a turn in chess. If you get your opponent in checkmate, you call out mini Smaloogle. If you take an opponent's piece, you put it on the board start. The board mini game, it goes on that start of that. And you take the enemies, so then they can move their character on the board.
So you get your pieces for the board game off the chessboard.
Yes.
Got
So
it.
you kind of want to strategically not lose in the chessboard, but then get them to take some of your pieces so your pieces go onto that board.
Okay.
And then whoever has the most mini Schmaloogles wins. Remember, the main Smaloogle adds up to 2 Schmaloogles. Also, the board goes together, like, so you put the chessboard off to the side, but then the main board is really just a Monopoly board.
So I missed it. What's the main Smaloogle?
The main Smaloogle,
Yeah.
if all mini Schmaloogles are done, like all the mini Smaloogle tasks are done, and on your turn you finish the last one, the last mini Smaloogle task, then you get the main Smaloogle, which instead of getting that mini Smaloogle, you get 2. Wait, no,
But don't
you still
win?
get that mini Smaloogle. But if you call out Smaloogle, it counts as 2 mini Schmaloogles, and whoever at the end of the game, whoever has the most mini Schmaloogles wins.
But isn't the person that finishes the last one gonna win anyway?
Incorrect. They just get 2 victory mini Schmaloogles.
Yeah, but they have all the other Schmoogles, right?
No, because because the 2 teams share progress on the bad things. So let's say one person won in chess, it's done for both of them. Let's say one person won in Hangman, it's done for both of them.
Okay.
Let's say one person won on the
So
board,
you're saying whoever wins the last one
gets 2
2
Schmaloogles.
Okay, now I understand. And then the most mini Schmoogles wins
Yeah.
and becomes the Great Schmoogle.
I didn't add that part, but sure. And you get a little crown that says Smaloogle King on it.
Okay. So I like it. I think we should develop it some more and maybe add in.
I'm adding more mini games later as expansions.
Why don't we figure out ways that every mini game can interact with other parts of the mini game? That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, so I have an idea. So like the chessboard already interacts. Let's say actually 4 dice start out instead of just 3. One's dice just theoretically exists, but it doesn't actually there. It's always out. So whenever you flip the little meeple guy, the amount of dice that are out is how many times you get to flip the meeple guy.
I like it.
And like I really want to test this game like after we're done recording, and we are going to. It's gonna be me, and if Tim wants to say, me and Tim versus you.
Smaloogle. All right. Well, thanks, Beau, for introducing us to
Smaloogle, the game.
Smaloogle, the game.
Yeast. Peace out, my homies.
Well, tonight on the podcast, we played Pandemic. I mean, Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship. It re-implements Pandemic. It is currently ranked 151st overall.
It's crazy. It's like...
Not gonna lie. I mean, this will be a top 100 game.
Yeah, because it's 2025 game.
Yeah.
Like it just came out.
It is number 30 in the thematic. It is currently 8.3 on Board Game Geek. As members of the Fellowship, embark on a journey to save or doom, which we did, Middle-earth. It is 1 to 5 players, best at 3. I could feel that. 60 to 150 minutes, ages 14 plus. The weight is 3.09 out of 5. The designer is Matt Leacock. The artist is Jared Blando and Corey Godby, and the publisher is Zman Games. Tim, you want to tell us what we do in Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship?
Sure. I've never played a Pandemic game before, besides this one, so I don't know.
Wild.
I know, we've kind of crossed over a little bit, but on your turn, you're going to take 4 actions. So I believe we played 2 players, so each of us had 2 characters.
Yep.
I think
Everyone always plays as 2 characters.
Okay. So on your turn, you're going to do 4 actions with one character and 1 action with the other. And on your turn, some of the actions you can do, you can basically move around the board. You can muster more troops. You can trade cards with each other. You can turn your cards into tokens, which you basically have a card hand limit. So those tokens kind of help you maybe keep cards for later. And then
You can attack.
You can attack people.
And you can convert their strongholds to your havens.
That's an action. So you kind of do those 4 actions, and in service of those, you're trying to clear out bad guys and, move cards around for each other, all to then try to achieve, I believe is it 1 objective per player character?
It's always 3 objectives and then dunk the ring.
Okay.
So there's always 4 objectives. 4. Yep.
Yeah. So we're trying to move around to do objectives. I think some of the objectives have characters that have to be in the game to achieve them. And those are thematic objectives. Like, in our game, Gandalf went to Moria, and then when he achieved his objective, he disappeared from the game, and then he was going to come back as Gandalf the White. Aragorn tried to go from, Rohan to Gondor and bring more troops. Those kind of things. And then you always have the one where Frodo has to go dunk the ring. So you have to achieve all 4 of those by doing all these actions. At the end of your turn, you're going to draw 2 cards, and then you're going to flip a number of, call it, bad cards from a giant, big, honking card deck that essentially move the bad guys down the road to your strongholds, or put more bad guys on the board, or move the Nazgul around. And you'll do that until you either get stomped or you dunk the ring and complete all your objectives.
That's pretty much it.
Yep.
Let's get to the table and come back with our thoughts on Fate of the Fellowship. All right, we're back. Initial thoughts time on Fate of the Fellowship. I knew that this Lord of the Rings game was coming out, and I knew it was based on the Pandemic system, and I had played the Wrath of the Lich King Pandemic and liked that. It was different enough. And this one seemed wildly different than Pandemic, which you can still feel the Pandemic bones in it, but it definitely has a different flavor than any other Pandemic system game that I've ever played, so...
Yeah, I didn't know much about this game besides that, Rob kind of, I think you talked about it a little bit on a podcast previously, and that it was, kind of Pandemic. Since I've never played a Pandemic game before, I was kind of excited to do it. I thought, I like Lord of the Rings, and I was interested to see what it was like, and kind of jump into pros here. I don't know if it's a Pandemic system, but how you take actions and the turns and how they go, I thought was really cool with the 4 and the 1, and, being able to do kind of a bunch of different things and then move your, the decision between which character has to go 1 action, which one gets to do 4, and, what objectives you're trying to achieve. I thought it was an interesting decision. And we kind of, as we talk through what we had to do as a team, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that's the main difference in this one. In Pandemic, you play as 1 character and you get 4 actions. So that's the same. And there's about the same number of actions, I think, depending on which Pandemic game you're playing. You're moving around, and in regular Pandemic, you're moving around, trying to trade cards and cure diseases and fight and take cubes off the board. And if too many cubes get on the board, then an outbreak happens and it spreads and that gets bad, and that's how you lose. In this one, it doesn't matter how many bad guys are in one spot. Nothing bad happens, except for if a big ball of bad guys moves down into one of your home zones and takes it over, you lose 3 hope. And you only start the game with 8 hope, I think.
I think you start with 6.
6?
I think you can only get 8.
Okay, and there's a lot of ways to lose hope. So, and that's what happened to us tonight. We got 2 of our locations taken from us, which was pretty bad.
Yeah, so when you flip the big cards at the end of the round that move the armies, they move every army down a path from one place to another. So they kind of, they can really start to snowball. And then on top of that, when you draw a shadow card from the deck of cards that go in your hand, those then reshuffle the discarded big cards into the back on the top of the deck. So then you probably only ever really go through a third of that deck, right?
And that is definitely a Pandemic system.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
And then so that just means the same places are getting pushed
Correct.
forward the whole time, and some of the other ones probably didn't move. Like,
Yeah, well, what is unique though is it will happen in different patterns because you shuffle it up and the backs of all these cards either have like a top banner or a bottom banner. And if it's a top banner, so if I flip over a card, it has two parts, a top which moves something and a bottom which adds a guy and then usually moves Nazgul around. They can do different things. If the top card of the deck is a top banner, that means the card you flipped will do the troop movement. And then if it's the bottom banner, it will do the add a troop and then whatever else is like special ability. So you don't know, you know what's in there, and usually the things that are moving are also the things that are getting added, but it might flip-flop which one of those things happens. But ultimately, there's a lot of the same in there, so you start seeing patterns and have to try to figure out like what the most dangerous areas of the board are going to be.
yeah, and we got 2 of those shadows cards or whatever they are right in a row, so then the same, basically the same kind of troop movement happened very quickly in succession and kind of ramped them down the track into one of our zones.
So similar to Pandemic, you put one of these bad cards in. We played the standard game, so we split the deck into 5 parts and put 1 in each part. And we had basically 2 cards, like 1 turn apart, happen. And so we kind of got hammered there, which is just something sometimes that happens in Pandemic. So pro for me, like the production on this is great. Ultimately, it says this game's fairly heavy, but like it sets up pretty quickly. And there's not a ton of pieces. And like the box is not really even that big. Like it's kind of a standard Pandemic box, maybe a little thicker. And that's mostly to fit a dice tower that looks like Barad-dûr in there. And it comes apart like in 3 pieces. So it's really easy to set up. And it's cool to chuck those dice down there. Like the little, instead of standees, they're like little wooden colored tokens that have good art on them. All the cards have great art. I have some you know what? Let's just make this kind of free form. My cons of the production are there's sometimes way too much stuff on the board at once, including the Nazgul, which are cool. They're all these little miniatures with standees, and they actually have varying heights to the pipes on them. So you can kind of put them close together, which was a smart idea. But sometimes in this game, you can have like 7, 8 Nazgul in one spot. And like, there's just no room to put there. And then also be able to see the troops and your guys and the words on the board for like, there's a couple times tonight where like, where the heck is this town at? And it's because there was stuff on it. So,
yeah.
And like the troop, they couldn't really make the troops bigger. Like the troops were pretty tiny too, but I see why they made the troops tiny, because if the troops were big, the thing I just said would be even worse.
Yeah, the board size is not very big. It's not like a big 3 fold-out board. It's probably smaller than maybe your standard like square board. It's
yeah, they could have maybe made the board a little bigger.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of arrows for the troop movement that kind of overlap, so it definitely gets a little bit crowded on top of the art that's on the like underneath all the cities and stuff, because you got the Mines of Moria, you got the Fangong Fort, like, so it kind of all it looks like the map of Middle Earth, right?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty busy, especially when you start getting a lot of stuff on it.
Right.
So that's my downside to that.
And if you don't know where the names of the cities are at, it's hard to find even the zones. So
that's true. Being familiar with Lord of the Rings is really helpful when you play this game.
Yeah.
I really think another big pro for me being a Lord of the Rings fan is just the fact that the game is super thematic, I think. The missions you play are very thematic and things that happen in the books, and like your characters that you need to do those things and like your character abilities are also thematic and like how they work. And there are 24 different objectives in this game, which is awesome. Like that's so many different ways to play. And they give you hey, play this way the first time with these exact characters, which I think is great, because this is going to be another pro for me. This game is hard. And that's the way I like my co-ops. This might be a con for some people, but I don't want to win a co-op game every time. I want to have to work at it. Like, what's the point in playing a game if you know you're going to just win?
It was definitely hard.
So like this is, and another pro on that, that wavelength is you can adjust the difficulty. Like we could have played with only 4 instead of 5 cards, right?
Right.
And it made it slightly easier.
Yeah, and it felt thematic with how hard it was. It definitely, like in the books and stuff, you feel like it's this monumental task. This small group of people are going on it. Everything's stacked against them, and it definitely feels like that. You start like, oh, all these armies are moving around, and the Nazgul are over here, and the Eye just came, and we're losing hope, and yeah. So I thought that was thematic of it.
Yeah, so I think the other big pro for me was the replayability. I know I mentioned 24 different objectives. There's 14 event cards, which are like the pandemic cards where you can kind of play them at any time, and you play with a certain amount of those. And then there's 13 different characters to play with. So I guess another pro is if you're looking for a 5-player game, I don't know that I would maybe recommend this at 5, but it plays 1 to 5. And I played it solo, and the solo is very easy you basically control 4 characters, which can be a lot because there's a lot to every character. Every character probably has 2 or 3 different sections to them and things they can do. But that's what makes the characters cool, and everyone feels unique and everyone feels different. And the crux of that game really is, on my turn, I can give one of these characters 4 actions and one of these characters 1 action. What do I want to do? And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, like what's the best? And then knowing that after those 5 actions, you're going to get 2, 3, and we didn't even get the threat like 4 or 5, like of the bad cards with troop movement, even between everybody's turn, right? No matter how many players you have, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I would say I liked the Nazgul movement with Frodo, and Frodo's always in the game, right?
Yes.
Where they're trying to fly around, and every time he moves, he has to kind of roll some search dice with the more search dice with them or the people that are in his kind of zone,
or spend precious resources.
Yeah, or spend cards. So yeah. I thought that was a neat, thematic thing, and ended up pushing us as Frodo like way over into the east side of the map, and we were trying to go down from there. So I thought that was interesting. So,
and like other people can do things to try to like draw attention away from him, which I think is cool. Like when you go fight something that draws the eye to you, I think it's neat to run around the board and try to like manage all the orcs and kill them. And then just trying to figure out how you're going to achieve these objectives while you're like slowly marching Frodo to go do the thing. It's just like, these are all things that were happening at the time of the story, right? And so it feels like you're actually playing through a version of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say enough about the objectives. I really liked those and how thematic they were and what needed to happen. And then I think the troop movements on the other side were also pretty thematic in that, the guys from the south were moving up into Rohan, and it felt like they were all kind of going into the certain places that they were trying to go to, right?
Yeah.
Like the people from Moria were going one direction. People were trying to go to the Shire. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I wish that the scenarios in the back of the book, they'd say, hey, play these objectives, and they kind of give you different difficulties for them. I wish they also would pair the characters you should be playing with them, maybe. That is one thing, like, basically it says take the characters that the objectives need, and then randomly assign the rest of them. I think that makes this game really, really hard. I think what you have to do is ignore that part, and based on the objectives you have, pick the characters you want. And then maybe randomly assign them or whatever, but maybe even assign them to the people strategically, just because this game is hard, and having a little more randomness makes it even harder.
Yeah.
That's up to you. Like, you still have fun just like dealing it out and seeing what happens. But one time we were like, we're gamers, we're going to just do this. And we just picked 3 random objectives and took 6 random guys, and we got hammered.
Okay.
And after the game, I'm like looking at like the characters, and I'm like, this guy would have been awesome. Like, we should have had Gimli because we were doing this dwarf thing, and we didn't. So a big pro this game has over Pandemic is Pandemic always made it really hard to manage your hand. And it still has the really, really hard thing of trying to pass other people cards because you have to be in the same spot. And normally you'd have to be in Pandemic, you'd have to be in the same spot. And then there's a few different ways to pass cards. But a lot of the times you had to be in the same spot and have that named city card in your hand. And this one, you got to be in the same spot and be in the same region as the card says, which is slightly easier. But if you're running into your 7-card hand, you can just straight up take an action to turn that card into a token. And that's great because you can hold on as many tokens as you want. And at the end of the game, you need 5 ring symbols. And there's only so many rings. So you got to be careful not to just toss those away willy-nilly doing other things, which you totally can do. I was playing this solo, and I was coming down to it, and it was getting late at night. I'm like, can I actually win this? And I looked at the deck, and I'm like, nope, and I went to bed. Because
there's no more rings left.
Because I needed like 2 more rings, and I had used them all. And so, like, I could have played the rest of it out, but it would have been pointless.
Yeah, because you never would have achieved the objective to dunk the ring.
Correct. You need 5 of those suckers, and that's about half, I think, of the total rings. Because there's like 9, 10, or 11 rings, something like that.
You got any more pros?
I think the dice tower is really cool.
Oh yeah, the dice tower is awesome. Yeah, I mean, it looks great on the table. Everything about it looks great on the table. The dice are great. The tower is cool. You colored in the little white edges from folding the cardboard, which I thought was a good touch.
It just all looks dark now instead of seeing like the cardboard, the corrugated cardboard on the edges. I don't know. I think that was a lot of the pros.
Yeah, I got a couple cons if you want to kind of jump into them.
Sure.
One, so maybe it's different for other games, but this game, I felt like we had a really hard time drawing the card symbols that we need. The deck is pretty big, and we just never really got the chance to muster any troops in any really areas. I think we had 2 heart cards the whole game. We mustered with one of them, and the other one was in your hand that you drew at the end when we died. So it was really hard for us to defend the areas. I guess we could have like maybe attacked more, but it kind of felt like, at least for me, it's always, well, we got some objective. Let's go try to accomplish these early. And we maybe we did that too fast.
I think we did.
Okay.
I think we were trying to shoot our shot too early. But I mean, there is that thing like, you got to roll with what you've got. And I think that just comes with experience. There's been times where it's been the other way. And like, you're always missing something you need, right?
Right.
And there's only so many of all of those in there. I think that's part of what makes the game kind of hard. It did stink that to make a troop, you have to have a purple symbol. And yeah, we didn't really have any of those. But I know there's characters like Merry and Pippin, they just give you like a purple token on their turn.
Yeah, okay.
So like there's ways, that's why I said, like, if I was to pick instead of Golem, I would have we could have picked Merry and Pippin, and that would have maybe been easier.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So okay. So
like, they all have their own thing, and that's why I said I actually wouldn't mind playing this with 4 or 5 people. I could see where 3 might be the sweet spot, like having 6 guys on the board, but having like 8 or 10 characters, even though that's going to make it even busier on the board, just gives you more powers at the time. Now, that being said, to lean into my con for this game, I think, is its weight says 3. Like, this game is not a very hard game, and I think another pro was the game is basically on those 2 player aids I gave you.
Right.
And like they're double-sided, and they're fantastic. You can basically play the game right off of those. But this game is long. It can be long. It wasn't tonight because we got smoked.
Yeah.
But I think, and especially if you played with more people, although the game is probably always about the same length, although more people is more talking and that kind of thing. But you're going to go through the same deck.
Right. And the bad deck will flip the same amount of times.
Yeah, it's all the same. You're just
five actions, flip 2 cards.
Everyone's
going to
get fewer things to do. And if everyone was, more adept at the game, or everyone knew the game, maybe that'd be a better experience. But the game could be on the long side. It is not a short co-op game. I would put it in. I would throw it in like the Dark Tower area. Like Dark Tower is not really a short co-op game either.
Yeah, I mean our Dark Tower games were 2.5, 3 hours sometimes.
Yeah, I think this thing could be in that realm.
Yeah, so the box is 60 to 150. So
an hour to 2.5.
Yeah,
and I could see that too.
Yeah, I would say another one of my cons is I had a hard time sometimes with all the stuff that maybe happens in between people's turns to remember whose turn was next, because sometimes you draw the bad card out of the player deck, and then you do all those things, and then you flip 2 or 3 or 4 cards from the troop movement deck, and then you go do some fights, and then they take over a thing, you roll dice, and it could be 10 minutes between people's turns, and it was like, did I just take the last turn, or was that you? Or because there's a whole bunch of bad things happening, and we achieved an objective, and sometimes it can be a lot between turns. So just remembering, at least with 2 players, it was sometimes it was like, I don't remember who went last.
Yeah.
So
and I was stuffing my face too.
Sure,
so I think that it could, like, a start player marker might not be a terrible idea.
Yeah, or like
not a start, but like a current player marker.
Yeah, one you can pass back and forth or something. So yeah. I mean, I assume maybe with like 3 or 4 players, you kind of remember a little bit more.
Probably.
But sometimes I got lost at like what was going on because
because you got to do 5 things, and then you draw 2 cards, and then you got to flip 3 cards, and you got to decide then determine who's moving where. And sometimes there's a lot of guys on the board to move. So
yeah, and you could have an event, which could be like a 6th thing that happens, and
I think the other side to that is you can kind of give everyone with more people, like people can have jobs.
Yeah.
It's like you're kind of always involved in the game a little bit too. In games like this, I think that usually helps to be like, okay, well, you try to maybe move guys or this or that.
Yeah, because when you flip over a card and you move guys, you could move like a whole line of troops,
Right.
3, 4, 5 sets of troops. So and following the right arrow path was sometimes a little bit confusing because when you flip a card, it's got like a color of the path.
Yeah. I would say like your first couple games of that is definitely going to take a little bit to get used to, but it's pretty second nature now. It's not too bad. But
pick up a bunch of jazz.
Unfortunately, knowing maybe I'm a bad person to talk about this because knowing like the layout of the map and where all the places are pretty much in my brain, I already know where kind of things are.
Yeah,
just from playing so much Lord of the Ring.
Yeah, but you got the Nazgul like taking up a bunch of spot areas.
That's what makes it hard.
Yeah, so you just gotta pay attention, and sometimes that can take a little while, which I think is what maybe say like adds to the length of the game a little bit. Is that there's just a lot of that,
a lot of upkeep for sure. That's every pandemic game with that's pretty much every co-op game that has like negative part of the turn, like the game's turn to like wreck your face.
Yeah, a thing that happens in between each player. Yeah.
Yep. It's just a little more in this one,
right.
I feel like, especially with the movement. Are you ready for final thoughts?
Sure.
All right. Final thoughts time here on the Board Boys podcast. Fate of the Fellowship. We have a 3 Boing rating scale, 0 being the worst, 3 being the best. One time you can give a 4 Boing game per season. Or whenever you want.
Whenever you want.
Anyway.
Yeah.
This one will not be a 4 Boing game for me.
Probably not.
0 Boing game of this is themed in the world of Covenant.
Oh.
And not Lord of the Rings.
It's a fake Lord of the Rings area. Yeah.
It's like Temu Lord of the Rings.
I was thinking a 0 Boing game of this would be the Fellowship dies in the first hotel where in the movie they show up and they stuff the beds. They're actually in the beds and they
just get stabbed and it's over.
That's it. That's the end of the thing.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
The 3 Boing game of this one is, well, let's just jump into it. This is the 3 Boing version of this game for me.
Okay, so you're saying 3 Boings.
This is a 3 Boing game.
Okay.
I rated a 9 on BGG. I'm rounding up to 3 Boings. It's my favorite IP. It is a fun game that I could jump out and play with pretty much anybody, and it kicks my butt. And I don't play a lot of games solo. I played it solo and I liked it. That you play with 4 characters and you just move your token to each character in turn. And I even played it wrong solo. And I did better than we were doing tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was making the game way harder by doing both sides of the cards for the first half of the game. And then I'm like, what is going on? Why are there so many guys? And why are they moving so much? And then I reread that part in the rules and I was like, oh. And ultimately, like, this is a fairly short rulebook. I didn't say this is a pro. The rulebook's really good. This game is fairly accessible. Like,
I don't think it's a 3. It does not feel like it's a 3.
I think this is a game that they could sell. They definitely sell it like at Barnes and Noble.
Right.
But like this could almost even be a Target game.
Right. I would say the most complicated part of this game is setting it up.
Yeah, that's also, if you've ever played Pandemic, this is how you set up almost every Pandemic game too. So
you pick characters, pick objectives.
If you're familiar with Pandemic, you're going to feel a lot of that here, but it is also its own animal as well. But like, as far as how the end of turn step goes, the setup and how things are seated, how you make the piles and put the card in, like those are like the epidemic cards, I think, in Pandemic. Or like you just add more cubes to the board and then shuffle and put it back on top. All that's the same. But then there's just so much extra flavor with all the character actions and objectives and things in this one.
Yeah, I think maybe just go back a little bit. I think for me, I would have liked to have seen, individual decks for each of the eras or whatever that are seated with the same number of like there's certain number of like the card symbols in each one. And then you would maybe the setup would be less. We have to like make 5 piles. You just get like 8 decks. You pick 5 of them or whatever, put 5 cards in them, and you shuffle those decks and stack them on top of each other. I think it'd be a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think the reason why they do it this way is maybe it's because that's the way they've always done it. But they also have multiple levels of like, you want to make the game easier or harder, make more piles.
Yeah, sure.
And you can't do that if you say, oh, there's 4 different era piles or
Right.
whatever, right? And then those exact cards are going to come out in here. So I think that's the trade-off, I guess.
All right. For me, I think this game's I want to say 2.25. I'm going to say the game we had tonight, I think, was a 2. I believe this is first play, so I would say if I had gotten 3, 4, 5 plays in here, I could see it going up to 2.5 for me. Just the upkeep, the understanding of that kind of stuff, maybe the punishing, bit of it. I think I would maybe smooth out a little bit. So I could definitely see where people love this game. For me, I think I'm going to say it's a 2. Caveat, come back and say maybe we bump this to a 2.5 after not getting our butts kicked so quickly and understanding a little bit more of how the board kind of works and what happens with the upkeep. So,
well, it's time to roll it back then.
Yeah, I mean we can. We could have we played for 45 minutes, I guess. So
yeah.
All right, that'll wrap us up for the fate of the Fellowship. We like to look back on the Board Boys podcast 1 year in the past to the game that we played in the podcast then. We like to call this segment the Bumper Dump. Rob is going to insert Cam singing a song right here.
Maybe.
Depends on how lazy he is. So, cool. So 1 year ago, we reviewed SETI. SETI was 8.4 for 243, which is really high for that game at the time. It had not been out for that long.
No.
It's still an 8.4. It is bumped significantly. I'm not even going to, put you with the suspense here. It's 17. So it's in the top 20.
Thanks, Board Boys Podcast.
Yeah, I would say it was probably from us. I have not played this game since our podcast, I don't think.
I think I played it a bunch. I have not played with the new expansion yet, though, and I would really like to do that.
Do you have the new expansion?
I do not.
Okay. Is it available readily?
Not yet.
Okay.
I don't think. I think they had some supply chain issues. We were supposed to get a review copy, but that did not materialize yet.
Okay.
So
yeah. I'd love to play it again. I mean, I liked it a lot. So.
Yeah, and I really want to check out the expansion with more aliens and like unique player powers with the corporations and stuff. The reports from the people that played it at BGG-Con were it totally juiced everybody up, which, I don't know, could be fun, I guess. I don't know. We'll have to see. I was hoping it would shorten the game a little bit, like Underwater Cities does, by taking a round out, but it does not sound like that is the case.
Yeah, so it's a lot like, TI4, some of those games where you gave everybody more stuff and took, made the game less rounds essentially, but you just have more stuff. So the rounds are longer. It's not like Underwater Cities, you get 3 actions per round, right? So when you get more stuff in SETI, you just get to do more things and it takes longer.
Yeah, there's more things and more stuff and more turns.
Yeah.
Speaking of TI4, Ben told me that there was a mode. I thought we had played that way the other day. But there's some mode that's just completely wacky in the new expansion. And he said I would like it. Yeah,
so there's a new mode. Okay. So a little bit of TI4 history. There, like, people got bored with the base game when it was like 5 years before there was expansion. And a group of people made what was called Franken Draft, where they took, this is online, so on TTS, they basically took every faction and blew up all their parts and you drafted individual components and you made your own faction, right? So special powers, the text, all that other stuff. So they took that kind of philosophy and made like a new whole, it's called Twilight's Fall, where you basically draft individual, I call it special powers for your faction, their special text, all kinds of other stuff. But in Frankendraft, you got that and then you went and played the game. This part of the game, you continue to get powers. So you'll have like, 3, 4, 5, 10 powers and you just juice yourself up and like everybody's going crazy and things are getting blown up all over the place. And it's apparently very, very wacky. I have not yet played it, but,
well, I'm in.
Generating 20, 30 trade goods around, like.
Although it's probably too much for me, but.
I mean.
In a game that I already think has too much stuff to remember.
This would be like 10 times more than that. So.
I know, but it sounds like weird, fun stuff can happen, so.
Yeah, just destroying everything. So, yeah, I mean, I'll play. I think it would be really good to play with probably 4 players. So,
sure.
I think it'd be fun. All right. Back to SETI. If you want to give us some feedback on the games we do our Bump and Dump on, you can do so through our Board Game Geek Guild. We have a bunch tonight, so let's kind of get through them. First one, BJ from Board Game Gumbo. Why has it been so popular among listeners of the Board Boys podcast? Simple. First, it shares the letter I with Bitoku. Second, the multi-use cards gives each player a lot of freedom in their own strategy. Third, has a lot of combos all over the place. And finally, the surprise reveal of alien factions each game. Can't wait to get more from the expansion. Never gets old. 2.5 points for BJ. Jeremy Dobler says it's 100% a bump. It's a satisfying loop, and the toy factor is pretty high with the rewood pieces that look like Smarties and satellites and the VIP trophies. Add a little LED light to the sun, and it'll light the system up. Rob, thanks for the LED light. I appreciate that. Can't wait to check out the Space Agency, what Space Agency has to offer, mainly the player powers and new alien factions. He did not give us a rating here, but yeah. Jeremy, hook us up. All right. Logan Lanou says, dare I say I'm offended that this is even a question. It's 100% a bump, or 1,000,000% a bump. Ben R., he's been on the podcast before, said he was one of the first big games he played upon returning from his board game breakup several years ago and got really hooked on it for a while. Really enjoyed all the little timings and decisions in the game and when to move your probes around, when to optimize the rotation of the rings, and when to scan, snipe bonus points, or win sectors. When you put your data in the computer to pick up resources and tuck another income card. I also really like the components, notably the recycled wood player pieces and recycled plastic data markers. As far as an efficiency puzzle Euro game goes, I think this is one of the best out there. Almost every objective on the board is a race to some degree, so the player interaction is very present, and there's a lot of ways to win. The aliens and the massive deck of cards mean there's a good variety between plays. If I only had one big criticism of the game, it's that it's very long, and being more experienced doesn't shorten it, as much as you learn how to squeeze more actions out. Sadly, I don't think the expansion fixes that issue either. It's still 3 points for me, but maybe 2.5 at a 4-player game. So, like, he's basically saying it's probably a 3-player game because that would definitely shorten the length of the game.
Yeah.
So, and for me, I'm going to stand most Euro games, 95% of them are better at 3 players.
I think that percentage is high, but I would say a lot of them are, yes.
Well, okay, how about this? We'll put it this way. If we just played 3 players instead of 4, we'd probably play an extra game at game night.
I mean, that's true.
So there you go. So, all right. Ryan said he's a good game, but didn't quite wow me. The initial impressions of the first expansion seemed to take it up a notch. I'm considering repurchasing it in the future, like Jeremy. He said he'd give it a solid 2 boings. Louis Fontez, I want to give it a 3, but my wife was not very eager to play it because of its length. So due to the lack of plays, it feels like a 2.5. I really enjoyed the efficiency puzzle of the cards and interesting decisions and what to pursue for points.
Darn wives.
And then lastly, so Elvin Hubbard says it's a definite bump. And then lastly, Jeremy Thoman says 3 boings for me. I don't think we're ever going to live out the story of SETI and me and Jeremy. Probably be brought up all the time, but
That's pretty funny.
yeah. So to reiterate, Jeremy bought it at BGG Con, wasn't sure if he liked it, sold it to me, and then now it's one of his top 10 games and rebought it. So
he made up for that fact by buying like a half a dozen expansions for people.
He did, yeah.
BGG Con.
Yeah.
So, and he got his promo back.
Yeah. So 3 boings for him. He tries to eke out just one more thing. Plenty of nuggets to help you do what you want to do. It's fun to scan. It's fun to launch probes. It's fun to zip them around. Landing and orbiting planets are both good. So the cards can be really powerful and lead you down paths to things to do. When the aliens are revealed, there are even more fun things to do. It can be a little bit long, but I'm always engaged and time passes quickly. This could be my 4-boing game if I only had Pluto. I might just give him back Pluto just so I can see him.
Who is that?
Jeremy.
He has Pluto.
Does he now from the expansion? Okay.
He got it from BGG Con.
Okay. So then it's 4 boings.
I think so.
All right.
I'm gonna hold him to it.
All this like hype on this guy, I want to play it. I'm going to bring it to board game night on Tuesday. So
what, SETI?
Yeah.
It's good. I really want to play with the expansion.
Don't bring that.
I don't have it.
Oh, okay. Well,
sad.
All right. You want to wrap us up?
Yeah. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Board Boys Podcast, Season 18, Episode 2, Fate of the Fellowship from Zman Games. Go to theboardboys.com to find all our juicy links and content out there. You can go to Facebook, Instagram. You can click the link to go to our Patreon and support us there, or the Discord link to come talk to us on Discord and play some games on BGA. I'd like to thank our patrons now. BJ from Board Game Gumbo, Timothy Crisco, Shifty Teeth, Jordan Smith, Andre Bosch, Braden Dowdy, Rob Cooper, Richard Lane, Matt Kelly, Portland Gamecraft, Terry Ward, Mark D. the Fourth, and Jeremy Thoman. Thanks again, everybody, and until next time, we hope you like board games.